just want to make sure that we get things right, and you have to bear with us for starting this press brief late. I just want to say two things very, very quickly. First, once again, government to put on record its gratitude to their men and women, particularly from the health sector, who are working 24 hours at our airports, at our borders, to ensure that they can keep us safe from this COVID-19 and the coronavirus by screening people who are coming into Zambia. So once again, government wishes to extend its gratitude, because these people are also at risk, and just like any of us, they are quite concerned about the coronavirus. Number two, just to state that every time government wishes to issue a statement on this matter through the Minister of Health, there will be a press briefing such as this one. So anything else circulating on social media that is not as a result of a meeting such as this one is fake, like we saw the one that was circulating last night and up to this morning. Unless it is after a press briefing such as this one, when an official statement will be posted online, anything else is fake. The last press briefing we had was on Saturday. The second one is this one. So anything in between reporting to be a statement by the Minister of Health is actually fake and should be ignored. I think now the Minister of Health will go straight into the latest statement.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, I recognize the presence of colleague ministers from Office of the Vice President, Honorable Papiri, the Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Honorable Doris Leah, Minister of Higher Education, Honorable Brian Mushimba, Minister of General Education, Honorable David Mavumba. I recognize the presence of permanent secretaries from the Ministries of Health, Ministry of Education, and all senior government officials present, and our friends from the press. To all of you, I say good morning and welcome to this briefing. Let me give special recognition to a guru of public health in Zambia, a teacher of many, and a public health expert of international repute, Professor Babu. It's good to have you in this press briefing. It does show that you're very concerned about public health. Our friends from the press, thank you so much for coming through to attend this press briefing. And through you, we are privileged to address the nation on the latest on the coronavirus outbreak, the pandemic that has been declared by the World Health Organization. The government of the Republic of Zambia, led by His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa, has expressed grave concern at the imminent outbreak of the COVID-19 virus in Zambia, and has been proactive in coming up with measures to ensure that the Zambian citizens are protected from a possible outbreak, and also that preparedness is enhanced. And to show proactivity, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia has directed further measures to enhance protection of the Zambian public from a possible outbreak, and also to enhance preparedness in the event that we got a few cases. Let me begin by giving a little background that the COVID-19 outbreak has now spread to at least 162 countries and territories, and the World Health Organization has now defined this as a pandemic. As of today, 17th March 2020, the world has recorded 181,335 cases and a total of 7,130 deaths. This shows a daily increase of 10,000 cases. Of concern to us is a rapid geographical spread globally and also in Africa. Since the first case was recorded in February 2020 in Africa, numbers have escalated to 322, and we've so far recorded 10 deaths in Africa. Zambia has not yet confirmed any case, has not yet recorded any case of COVID-19, but continues to pitch public health security as a very high priority. We now have escalated the level of preparedness to the highest and put in place intense measures to ensure that we're able to prevent new cases, first cases, and also to be able to respond to any possible outbreak. I'll now go through the new measures that have been directed by the government of the Republic of Zambia under His Excellency Dr. Health Chitalu. One, the screening process that is coordinated by our disease surveillance technical arm, the Zambia National Public Health Institute, has become mandatory at all entry points and has even become more rigorous. And for individuals or travelers coming from places where they've recorded cases, the intensity of screening has been increased. Statutory Instrument 21 of 2020, which designates COVID-19 as a notifiable disease, has been signed, and Statutory Instrument 22 of 2020, which provides additional regulations, has been signed, and this will facilitate management and control of COVID-19. These were issued on March 14, and I would like to emphasize that Statutory Instrument 22 emphasizes mandatory screening and quarantine of international travelers, including air travel passengers, truckers, bus operators, and passengers at all ports of entry for 14 days. And this quarantine shall be enforced by our public health officers, and there shall be regular follow-ups of all people under quarantine. I must emphasize that for all citizens returning home from countries that have been hit by the COVID-19 outbreak, they shall be quarantined. If they are asymptomatic, they shall be in self-quarantine, and the regulations for self-quarantine will be made extremely clear. Put simply, you will be restricted to your home state, and even when you're restricted to your home state, you should be restricted to rooms where there is minimal contact with the rest of family members to avoid possible spread should you become symptomatic. You will be in contact with our public health officials for 14 days until we are confident that the 2 to 14-day incubation period is passed. So I emphasize that international travelers from high-risk countries, citizens returning home from countries that have recorded COVID-19 shall be in self-quarantine if they are asymptomatic. If they are symptomatic, they will immediately be isolated in designated places where we have highly trained rapid responders who will ensure that symptomatic management or treatment is instituted immediately. And these places have been identified in Lusaka, on the Copper Belt, in Livingstone, in Chisali, and in Petauke. We are engaging all our district health staff along the border areas and in all parts of the country to ensure that we have adequate numbers of rapid responders. Let me also emphasize that for the community, if you come across anyone with symptoms, it is mandatory to report. Even for those people who have not been in self-quarantine, should they develop symptoms, report to the health authorities. There are toll-free numbers that have been circulated, to avoid contact with fellow passengers on public transport, with many other people you may meet in transit, it is important to pick up a call when there are symptoms so that authorities can mobilize and ensure you are transported swiftly and to the appropriate places where help shall be found. Even if you did not travel and you develop the symptoms, kindly engage with our health authorities. We are emphasizing again the restriction on all foreign travel, and the public is advised to reschedule all avoidable travel. We further emphasize that hygiene practices to promote infection prevention in all passenger vehicles, aeroplanes, marine transport, and other conveyances must be enhanced. Government has further engaged with airlines and introduced pre-departure screening. Pre-departure screening has been introduced in conjunction with all the airlines that fly into Zambia. Further, all missions abroad, Zambian missions abroad, will review the visas that have been issued to would-be travelers from COVID-19 high-risk countries. And like I said, pre-departure screening, not only for passengers coming from high-risk countries, but all those transiting through high-risk countries, COVID-19 high-risk countries, has also been introduced. I'd like to emphasize to the public that the two known high-impact interventions that promote prevention is hand washing and general hygiene. So the President, through the Keep Zambia Clean campaign, has ordered a scale-up of cleaning up of cities and communities. The Ministry of Health and all the line ministries will continue to engage to ensure that these measures are implemented. We further want to emphasize that engagement with various community leaders is ongoing, chiefs, religious leaders, and we want to place on record our appreciation to the religious leaders who have responded very quickly by putting in measures to prevent coronavirus spread. One, we want to appreciate the introduction of hand washing facilities and the reduction of hours which they congregate. Ladies and gentlemen, as you've seen up in front here, I've been joined by the Ministers of Higher Education and the Minister and General Education. In order to ensure minimum spread of COVID-19 in the event of the first few cases, and to further demonstrate government's concern to school children, and in escalating the response in preventing COVID-19 outbreak, all schools, colleges, and universities will close this Friday. All schools, colleges, and universities will close this Friday. And between now and this Friday, we will be disseminating to our students, to our pupils, on how to prevent transmission of COVID-19 in the event we had initial cases in the country. And also, we will be engaging our various stakeholders in these institutions of higher learning and general education to ensure that we empower, through them we empower the communities where they're coming from with information to ensure prevention and minimize transmission in the event this happened. This just brings forward the recess for these institutions. And as the epidemic evolves, we will be giving guidance on the reopening of these institutions. We'd like to emphasize that a multi-sectoral approach will be adopted, will continue to be adopted and implemented. And following the setup of the Emergency Response Fund of 57 million kwacha from government treasury, many stakeholders, many cooperating partners have come on board to support the activities of COVID-19 emergency response. Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, countrymen and women, I'd like to reiterate the message from the Minister of Information. Misinformation will mess up the response. Let us heed that call and avoid misinformation. As the Minister of Information has stated, you will see us issue press statements on camera, and these press statements will be distributed to the press. Any other sources of information should be discarded. A call center has been established for the public to report concerns and also receive information on the disease. The dedicated call centers have been displayed in various parts of the country and in the various places of work. Let us re-emphasize the importance of hand hygiene, the importance of hygiene in our communities. Let us comply with health inspectors and authorized officers who will from time to time visit public places to ensure compliance. Failure to comply will constitute an offense. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we will be giving regular updates to the nation through the media as the epidemic evolves, and decisions may change depending on how the epidemic evolves. When you have any queries or questions, feel free to contact our technical people at the call center. The command center remains the Zambia National Public Health Institute, where an emergency operating center has been established and where a plan has been laid out for prevention and for response to the imminent COVID-19 outbreak. We thank you for coming. Thank you for attending this press briefing. Okay, you can have questions, you can ask questions, and my colleagues here from the education and higher education are available to take questions.
So thank you so much. The guidance has been given, so we'll take questions. We'll ask as many questions as you could. So what I would request for is that we'll have a set of 3 questions per each. So introduce yourself, the media platform you're coming from, and then 1 question. 1 question. There are no 2 in 1. Okay, so I have the first 3 ladies there. We'll start with you, madam, where you're coming from, and then the 2.
My name is Prudence. I'm coming from Global Baseball. My question is on street vending. We've seen that street vending has continued, and sometimes these street vendors sell fresh food like meat and other foods. What is the ministry doing about this? Thank you.
Thank you. Nambula?
Good morning. My name is Nambula from Zambia. We know that the day for Pomoka has been announced, which is the 4th of April, and the business we know that it's going to be
Nambula, would you please speak up?
I'm asking in relation with Pomoka 4th of April 2020, what is the ministry's guidance on that ceremony, which we all know that it's going to be.
Okay, so the colleague next to you. You can go ahead.
My name is Violet Mengo from Zambia Daily News. The minister spoke of training the health personnel. I'd like to find out how many health professionals have been trained in this an outbreak.
Thank you so much. We'll take two more. Yes.
Good morning. From preventive. I'd like to find out, there are speculations of the case in Dola at the Ethiopian Airlines. I need to reach your office and then maybe some clarity on that.
Then the last one, lady over there before we could give our honorable minister.
My name is Tenok Sikazo from the embassy. I just wanted clarity on the recess on schools. I think I didn't get the point. For how long will this be?
Okay. We can take a few more. I saw a hand here.
Good morning. My name is Simon from the Daily Nation. We mentioned about the content which is a good preventive measure. My question is that how about these other recreation venues? Or for example, let me just write out the bars. Any intention of closing cinemas?
Let me have, okay, let's settle down. Let me have the last one from Priscilla.
Just want to get very clear. We coming up with enforcing strict strategy or flights coming in from high-risk countries, and then also all the sports events. We have some lined up. What will happen in these?
Thank you so much, honorable ministers. Those were the questions. There was one on street vending. Another one was on the Kuomboga ceremony. And then how many trained personnel. And then there's suspected cases, 2 cases in Dola, the recess of schools. I'm sure honorable ministers from education will answer that. And then other the settings like bars. What is it that we're doing about it? Street vending. The question came up, and then travelers. There's still people traveling, so those were the questions of the minister. So we give responses to that.
Well, thank you very much. Again, would like to emphasize that these measures were proactively taken just when the threat of the COVID-19 outbreak arose. And what we are doing today, in order to respond to most of your questions, is to emphasize the measures that in escalating our response, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Chitalu has directed. I'd like to emphasize, colleagues, that Zambian missions abroad have been directed to review visa applications for would-be travelers to Zambia. At the same time, foreign travel to Zambia, to high-risk countries, we say should be postponed. At the same time, for those who are coming to Zambia, pre-departure screening has been intensified. At the same time, for those who are transiting in countries which are high risk for COVID-19, those are equally being screened. And we are saying we're working closely with airlines to ensure that there is minimized risk of foreign travelers coming into the country from high-risk countries. I would like to emphasize again that schools and training, high institutions of learning will close on the 20th of March, Friday, this week, in order to protect the public. These are the escalated measures that have been put in place in order to protect the public, in line with guidance from the Republican President. Colleagues, having said that, some of the issues that do not come out of this question that you've asked, we've trained 580 health workers countrywide as rapid responders. And these are not only doing surveillance and disease intelligence, but these are ready in various facilities. They are ready in various facilities to treat symptomatically, to resuscitate, or to manage within the guidelines that have been provided any possible new cases. We've rearranged our ports of entry in terms of port health services, surveillance, to ensure that screening is intensified. For buses coming from South Africa, coming from outside the country, we'd like to thank Lusaka City Council for working closely with a partner and having identified a different port where these buses will dock. Buses that are coming from outside Zambia will not dock at the intercity. They will dock at the dry port, and I'll be asking His Worship the Mayor to say a few words on that. This is to ensure that we screen thoroughly passengers that are coming from outside the country using bus transport. So there is a dry port that has been opened up as the docking area for buses that are coming from outside the country. Isolation centers have been identified in various parts of the country. We have mapped our assets that we require for management of cases along the continuum of care. There are cases that will need tertiary level care and that will require ventilation. And so we've identified which hospitals such facilities will be provided. Today, we have Tuvalenge with a bed capacity of 20, and should we need ventilation, we will move to a designated unit within the investigating hospital where there are ventilators. And should the cases swell, we have even a bigger facility at the new wing of Levi Manawasa Hospital. Ndola will be the point of, will be the center for the Copper Belt region. We have introduced another center in Rwapula in Mansa and in Livingston at Livingston Central Hospital. And for those coming through Nakonde and generally for cases within that region, Chisali General Hospital is the area. For Eastern Province, Petauke General Hospital is the place where we have adequate facilities in the event we need to scale up clinical management. Must emphasize that most cases are mild and require simple symptomatic management and do recover. For the elderly and the immunocompromised, a number of cases do progress to severe disease, which may result in renal failure, and that may result in complications in our cardiorespiratory system and may require ventilation. So the cases will manage in those designated places. But be rest assured that the whole country has designated isolation facilities, and we have stockpiled PPEs, personal protective equipment, to ensure that we respond appropriately. Invoking the Public Health Act to bring in measures to protect the public from getting the disease requires restrictions on public gatherings. Restrictions on public gatherings. Zambia has not recorded a case, and the response is scalable. And where we are today, we are restricting. We are working with our colleagues in the local government to ensure that, one, we don't have unnecessary gatherings. So bars will not operate beyond the hours that have been designated, and public health inspectors will ensure that regulations are adhered to. And like I said, measures will be escalated depending on the epidemic. We have restricted hours of operation for places where the public gather, everywhere, including churches. We have restricted the number of hours that they can meet, and then there are measures that have been directed, such as hand washing and general hygiene. And if our health inspectors visit these public places and they depict that there is little compliance to the measures that have been put in place, those facilities will be shut immediately. There's been information that Ndola has recorded a case. I want to emphasize again that when you hear that there is a suspected case or an alert, it is because our surveillance system is sensitive and it will pick up cases as they come. But when we're investigating an alert, we're not confirming a case. Should a case come out positive, we will issue a statement in the manner that we're issuing this update. So there is no confirmed case of COVID-19 in Ndola. Zambia has so far investigated 28 alerts, and all these have come out negative. There is perception out there in some quarters that we have not recorded positives because we're not testing. Zambia has intrinsic capacity to test for COVID-19, and we are screening people, and those that require testing are being tested. And so far we investigated 28 alerts and they are all negative. We've been testing at the virology lab at UTH, at the veterinary lab at the University of Zambia, and we have capacity to test. We have algorithms that give us the indication to do such tests. So our alert surveillance system has picked up 28 alerts, and these are being investigated. They do not constitute a case definition for COVID-19. So Ndola has no case of COVID-19. Should there be a case in any part of the country, we will summon the press, and through the press inform the nation, and also, like I said earlier on, scale up our interventions. Be rest assured that we are in constant touch with all the districts. We have an eco platform where we engage with our district staff, provincial staff, every day, where we discuss surveillance and disease intelligence activities. We have engaged with various organizers of events, and will continue to do so, and we are advising as such, and appropriate announcements shall be made from relevant authorities pertaining to such events. As for us, we are giving what is mandated to be done in such a time when the threat to public health is grave. The schools, like we said, will close on March 20th, and the date of opening will be determined as the epidemic evolves.
Thank you so much. His Worship the Mayor, please comment on that.
Nice stand. Protocol tells me so. Thank you, the Honorable Minister of Health. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be very brief. I recognize your presence, sir. Dr. Chitalu Chilufya, the Minister in the Vice President Office and also in charge of DMMU, Honorable Oliver Piri on my left, the Minister of Higher Education, Honorable Brian Mushimba, the Minister of General Education, Honorable David Magumba, the DMMU Coordinator, Mr. Chandakabwe, and indeed the PS of Ministry of Health, our host, Dr. Malama. Quickly, the Minister has announced that buses coming outside Zambia that land at intercity bus terminals in Lusaka. This includes, and more so from countries where coronavirus has been detected, be it by one patient. And this includes South Africa on the south, and on the east side, Tanzania and Kenya. We have, on a daily basis, about almost 10 buses from south going and coming, and this side also. So decision has been made with immediate effect. All buses that are going to go outside in those directions and coming, they will not dock at intercity. We have secured a place, as announced by the Minister of Health, Dr. Chitalu Chilufya, the old dry port on Kafue Road, after Cosmopolitan Mall, you keep driving, and before Andrews Motel on the left. It used to be used back in the day as a backup for ZRA, for trucks at Chirundu border, because there were convoy and causing congestion there. So back in the day, they would allow them to drive all the way to Lusaka and then dock there until the ZRA process is completed. But then, so the owner of that place, who I want to sincerely thank now, before then we had, since the minister's press conference and the government spokesperson on Saturday, we took from their guidance and we were looking for an option. The only way was to move those international buses going into intercity, because we have others coming from all the provinces. So if one came, they were all exposed. So we were thinking of Independence Stadium, then we thought DMMU might want it, because in case of isolation or, God forbid, we get one breakout, that would be a place that is conducive for their purposes. So the owner of Lamasat, the chairman of Lamasat, Mr. Muhammad Ahmed, has given us his dry port land. It's a vast land that you can immediately start to use. We said, oh, we'll give you a payment for your land. He said, no, for Corona, I'm giving it free for your use, for the benefit of the city and the benefit of the country. So I wish to thank Chairman of Lamasat for this gesture to Lusaka City Council and the people of Lusaka and the Ministry of Health and the country in general, and the President as well, because we all report into the President. So intercity, the buses that go, I wish to alert them, I have them here, there are 6. They should immediately make alternative arrangements. These buses are Shalom bus, they go to south, Unlimited Gift bus, Jordan Motors bus goes to South Africa daily, Power Tools goes to South Africa daily, Royal Africa bus goes to South Africa daily, some of these go to Tanzania, Dar es Salaam. Eloi bus also travels either to Tanzania or Dar es Salaam. We are cognizant of the complaints that just stopping those buses coming, it may affect the people who trade, the SMEs, Bamakwebo, who travel to and from those countries to bring goods for resale for them to feed their families. So we are having to juggle. Before we could decree or convince the minister to decree that I think we should close the border so that those buses don't enter into Lusaka. So for now we have an immediate solution. We've already given orders. The buses coming from south, they will not enter intercity. They will be received at the dry port. Thank you to Muhammad Ahmed and other cooperating partners to come in with their social corporate responsibility, CSR, and don't wait to be asked. Come in and see how you can help us with this potential pandemic. We thank God there is 0 reports in the country. Honorable Minister, thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you very much. PS Kaku, would you introduce the other donor who is donating to this please?
directors, the media. We have in our presence Zenith Pipes Limited, who have come to join us today and are donating a sum of 100,000 kwacha towards the management of COVID-19.
The presentation is being done to Honorable Minister of Health by Zenith Pipes. And we call upon other donors to follow suit. 100,000 kwacha, big hand. We've got hand washing facilities, so immediately after the handshake. Okay, so that's the donation, and I think we'll request that the Honorable Minister also comments on one last question that was posed, and that is on street vending.
Again, I would like to emphasize that there are existing laws that govern vending, and we shall request all vendors to ensure compliance to the existing laws. And it should also be emphasized that leadership of the street vendors and the markets have been engaged. They've been engaging with DMMU, they've been engaging with us here on how to ensure that they participate in the response. And so far, we are getting good feedback from the leadership of markets and leadership of the street vendors. But let me just make a clarion call to all business men, be it street vendors, be it marketeers, be it bar owners, to please adhere to the provisions of the statutory instrument. Failure to adhere to the provision of statutory instrument shall attract penalties that will include shutdowns.
Thank you. I recognize my fellow ministers sitting here and the PSCs, government officials. I thought I would take this opportunity also just to speak a little bit on the higher education side and what this announcement by the minister and by government does to us, especially as it relates to some of the issues lately that have been picked up in the institutions of higher learning, such as ghost laws. A lot of you media houses have been calling me, that colleges, the lecturers that gone on ghost law, University of Zambia and CPU, and such. But before I speak to that, there were a lot of concerns that were coming through to my office from parents, from university administrators, college administrators, trying to ask government for its position as far as COVID-19 is concerned and the large numbers of students that they have. And this I share with the Minister of General Education. He probably equally has as many students as we do in higher education, and who were concerned and who were taking this alarm that was coming to our ministry as parents and as administrators were reaching out to us for guidance. And today what government is providing is a guidance that we're looking for to minimize any potential outbreak, because if we had an outbreak of this and it entered in one of our universities or colleges, you would see just the sheer impact it would have. And as a proactive government to make sure that we protect our children, protect our students, this decision has been made today. But there may be some circles that may say, well, you also have not paid some of the lecturers, and what does this me, and I want to speak to this, that for the universities, their March grant, which normally would have come around 6th to 10th March, which has delayed up to now, will be paid before the universities close. Colleges, last week, government released funding to TVET institutions. This funding has been received already. And if there's any top-up that government needs to release to them before closure of colleges, that also government has committed to do it, so that we close on a good note and we manage this COVID-19 pandemic appropriately and don't expose our children, our students unnecessarily. This is a required and necessary intervention by government to make sure that those places of high concentration of people can start to disengage and they can stay home as we get through this situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, and I recognize the presence of my colleagues, cabinet ministers, His Worship the Mayor of Lusaka, PS Kabwe and PS Dr. Malama, PS Kap and other PSs. I don't know where my PS is sitting. Just to re-emphasize what the Minister of Health has said, the decision to close schools is a very difficult decision. You can even see all over the world, some of the countries are still struggling. They haven't closed the schools despite having very good public health systems in place, because largely it is a very difficult decision. For me, I just want, through the advice of the Minister of Health, to thank the President of the Republic of Zambia, because he recognizes that the wealth and safety of our children in our school is paramount. So this opportunity we are giving them to close on the 20th of March is to ensure that the pupils, especially look at children, early education, maybe some of them 4, 3, 5 years, how do they take care of their own health? So it's important that the schools close, and therefore the children are in the hands of their parents, and PS Rwanda would be in the shortest time be guiding our provincial education officers in terms of how this transition up to the 20th of March is going to be. So with that said, I just want to thank our colleagues from Ministry of Health, and we'll continue cooperating with them in a more sectoral approach. And the opening of the schools would be dependent on the advice that is going to be provided at the appropriate time by Ministry of Health. So Dr. Chilufya, thank you.
Thank you very much. We're ready to take any more questions. Any more questions?
Yeah, yes. So we get some more questions. That round has been answered heavily. So there's one. Nambula, you asked earlier on, isn't it? Okay, so we'll start with you, madam. So your name, where you're coming from? And
my name is Agnes from Diamond TV. In the view of closing public schools and higher learning institutions, like Baobab School and the International School of Lusaka have one facility for e-learning, of which they will be on schedule when it comes to their curriculum. Is there any measure you're going to put in place to put e-learning for the public?
Thank you so much. Yes.
Good morning, Honorable Minister. I don't know if you can see me here. I'm over by the camera. My name is Akira. I write for the Southern Times. It's a Sunday newspaper. Honorable Minister, I just wanted you to expand on the issue of religious or religion, basically, on how long people should congregate. I know people congregate for different hours, so maybe you can clarify what's the way forward. And also on the humanity aspect, those that be bereaved during this period, how long can they congregate? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do you have another question?
I'm Patrick from 5FM. Honorable, I just wanted to get your perspective regarding an update regarding the development of a vaccine on the coronavirus. Then I also want to find out places like prisons. which are usually we have the aspect of congestion. What sort of interventions are being recommended?
Thank you so much for breaking the rules of asking one question. Can I have another?
You're discouraging public gathering. What will be your take on that?
Okay. Do we have any more questions? I can allow you number to ask.
Good morning again. Although the minister really avoided the convoca question, very upfront about it. But my next question is, there's been a concern of Salaula crews coming from outside the country. Is there a danger?
Okay, Salaula. I'll take the last one before our honorable ministers can respond. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Honorable. Matthew Nsuka from Texas. There was a question which was asked about sporting activities. I know that the Super League is active and there will be elections also for the Super Association. So if you could just answer that.
Honorable ministers, I know that the Honorable Minister of Health has directed us that to restrict the hours that we integrate. So I'll request that the Honorables could answer that.
Well, thank you very much. I did not avoid the question on Convoca, but I say organizers of public events are liaising with us so that we can guide on the way forward based on the statutory instruments that we've issued. But we will not be qualified to start announcing specifics about specific traditional ceremonies because there are authorities that do that. Our role is to ensure that we protect all citizens from the threat of nature, in this case the COVID-19. So all organizers of events are engaging with us and we are guiding appropriately, and appropriate announcements shall be made from the appropriate authorities. Nambula, as a Lozi chick, I expect you to understand that clearly. The issue of churches, we've made it very clear that the provisions of the statutory instrument will apply consistently to all congregate settings. There shall be reduced hours and there shall be hand washing facilities and there shall be no handshakes and there shall be social distancing and there shall be barriers between people who are coughing or exhibit any form of a symptom. And we shall continue to engage every stakeholder to ensure that in whatever they do, they do not promote transmission. Our colleagues in various ministries, in the true spirit of a multi-sectoral approach and the one government approach, we will do specific announcements and measures. They will implement specific measures that are in line with the statutory instruments. So we expect that bars will comply to the measures that have been announced within the SI, and our colleagues in local government will ensure enforcement. And already they are swung into action. We have made appeals to religious groupings, and I must place on record our appreciation for the quick response from many, many religious groupings, the Catholic Church, the Apostolic Faith, SDN, and many Pentecostal churches that ran key messages last weekend and that reduced the numbers of hours of congregating and that ensured there were hand washing facilities where they are. This is as it should be. The question about people having gatherings, whether they're elections, football matches, and so on and so forth, is answered by the statement that we will be consistent in the application of the statutory instrument when it comes to all congregate settings. Where there are mass gatherings, we will discourage. Where there should be some gathering of any nature, we will guide how that should be. So we are encouraging anyone with events to engage with us to ensure that we can provide guidance. But we are categorical. We are restricting public gatherings. Is there a vaccine that is available? Well, research is ongoing, and as we speak, there's no treatment, definitive treatment, and there's no vaccine available. But work is ongoing, and what we're doing for cases that are confirmed is symptomatic management. I'll leave my colleagues to speak about the issue of e-learning and many other issues to do with education.
Thank you, Minister. To answer the questions on what Baobab and other international schools have done, I'm sure as you are aware, education technology and school digitalization in terms of infrastructure platform is very minimal in the country. So obviously there will be very few schools that will have that platform, because that particular platform entails either a child having a smartphone or having a computer at home. However, and this is why in my comments that I gave earlier on, I did indicate that PS Rwanda is going to guide our provincial education officers in terms of the learning protocols that is going to evolve during the closure of the schools. One of them during the transition would be to ensure that as students go back home, they are given sufficient homework and reading material by the teachers. Number two, some of you may be aware that the Ministry of General Education has got what we call the Education Broadcasting Service. So again, PS Rwanda is going to guide the POs on how the Education Broadcasting Services during the closure of the school is going to be used as a tool for learning, including our radio services. So I'm sure even with this closure, there are other strategic interventions that government will put in place to ensure that children are not behind. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think the questions have been answered. Honorable Minister of Health.
Transmission of COVID-19 is by droplet infection. It's by droplet. You know, you cough out, and you're infected, and you cough out. Within the droplet, there's the virus, and someone within a meter inhales it and gets the infection. That is how you get it. So human-to-human transmission is through droplet infection. And we are going to advise what measures to put in place. So far we've advised hand washing, hygiene, social distancing. Those are the key measures. We would like to ensure business carries on normally, but within the provisions of the statutory instrument and within the broader public health rules. And so, we are not giving bans, on any of, specific, businesses, and we're just emphasizing adhere to the rules as laid out in the statutory instrument, and we'll be good to go. All of us are safer if we promoted hand hygiene and if we promoted general cleanliness in our environments, and if those who have a flu or a cough create a barrier between themselves and the next person by covering their mouth and nose when they're coughing. Or staying home. Yeah, and social distancing, extremely important. And so let us promote prevention. Let us ensure that you, the media, promote awareness, sensitization of the public, because early detection will be key to the outcome, of these, cases. As the media are still gathering courage to ask more questions, Honorable Minister from the OBP.
Thank you so much.
First, I would like to thank you for affording me this chance to talk to the media and recognize the presence of the Minister of Higher Education, the Minister of Higher Education, the Mayor of Lusaka, the NC, the National Coordinator for GMOU, the PSS for Health and Education. As the Minister in the Office of the Vice President, we are there to coordinate and work together with all ministries so that as we are facing all these challenges which are coming in front of us, as the ministry in the Office of the Vice President, we make sure that we sit with the ministries and make sure that everything it is coordinated well. And also, we are also coordinating with the market supervisors who are the market managers, so that all those people in the street, as you have talked about, also ministry under the Vice President, we are there to coordinate with them so that they do the sensitization. Whatever sector, that office is free. And we have also come up with the call center under GMNU, whereby all those queries, and if there is any outbreak somewhere else, people should be alerted by using our call center at GMNU. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ministers. Seeing that we are missing any hands, maybe we may take the last round of questions.
There are 2 hands on the door.
Because it's Parliament. So we'll take the last round of questions. Our ministers have to be released. There's Parliament this afternoon, so they have to prepare. So we'll start with you, Madam, then the 2 gentlemen there.
My name is Kafula from Radio Christian Voice. I wanted to find out, Zambia is a landlocked country, and looking at the fact that we've seen some other countries that are more developed and have the ability to curb the virus, have closed some of the borders. What measures are we taking as a country to ensure that the people that are coming in, or maybe we close the borders as well? I heard the mayor make mention of the fact that we do have SMEs that we're putting into consideration because they've got a family to feed. But if those people come in with the virus from wherever they're going, their families will also be affected, which will bring in the disease, the virus in the country.
Thank you so much. There's a hand just by the door there. Yes, introduce yourself and your question, please.
My name is Patrick Sakalima. I'm the director of Cloud Nine Octopus Media. Just wanted to find out from the minister. For the past few months, I have been coming to the Ministry of Health to advocate for a platform that I've been introduced to that will allow the Zambian people to be informed directly on their smartphones, like the way we send WhatsApp messages, but maintaining confidentiality, privacy, as well as official platform. So I just wanted to find out from the minister if by any chance they have seen this MOU that I have delivered, but also to say, like, speaking from experience, this morning I was not familiar with this platform that was being brought to today, so I had to find out through different media, and I believe the Zambian people also sometimes miss these programs because we're not made aware beforehand. So the question is really to ask is, as we are pursuing all these different medias, TV, we're also looking at this platform to be able to reach the different Zambian people right on their smartphones. So I just wanted to bring that to attention, sir. Thank you.
There should be a last hand just by the door. Okay. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. I'm Violet from Zambia Daily. The minister spoke highly about us maintaining a clean environment and hygiene, but I've noted with sadness that it's been very hard for the country as a whole to ensure that we have a clean environment. So to the minister and the mayor of Lusaka, what do you think is the lasting solution for Zambia to maintain a clean environment? Because if you just walk out and you find that you have so much dirt around us and you live with this dirt as though everything is okay, what's the lasting solution to this?
Okay. Honorable ministers, and I believe His Worship the Mayor will have to come in.
Thank you very much. In an epidemic, you review interventions as the epidemic evolves. The pandemic that has been declared by World Health Organization requires that countries come up. Now we're privileged in Zambia that the political will at the summit has been very good. And His Excellency President Chitalu has led the charge from the front line, directing a multi-sectoral response and directing measures to protect the public from COVID-19. And like I said earlier on, while we have told our missions abroad to review visa applications from would-be travelers from high-risk countries, and while we have intensified pre-departure screening and screening for passengers in transit from high-risk, COVID-19 high-risk countries, we are not at this point of the epidemic by closing borders. We are not at this point of the epidemic banning flights. It's a scalable plan, and should there be need to scale up our response, one, it will be evidence-based, and two, it will be announced at an appropriate level and time. So for now, the interventions that we are doing are within what is acceptable by World Health Organization standards. Zambia has adopted the transformational agenda in which health systems are being reformed to include public health security, and all these being done in a multi-sectoral manner. And the complexion of the high table here demonstrates President Zulu's multi-sectoral approach, not only to development but to health. Mr. Director there, thanks for using this opportunity to sneak in a question about your app and your business. Yeah. Well, thank you very much indeed. And what I would say is that technology is key to information dissemination, and the delivery of bulk messages or delivery of messages through a specific platform is something that we are embracing to enhance risk communication. Empowering the people with information through various platforms is the cornerstone of our response. So we will not refuse to work with people who mean well and people with good products. Yeah, and so we'll be happy to work with you. Can I respond to all the questions?
Just on the cleanliness, the last one.
Cleanliness, like I said, the President in that spirit has directed a scale-up in the clean-up operations of cities and communities wherever they are. So this is a directive to all citizens, municipalities, and other local authorities, including city councils, to ensure an upgrade in levels, a scale-up of hygiene in all places where they are coming from.
That's the last one, Honorable Minister, on prisons.
Yes. We are restricting visitations. We are restricting visitations to highly infectious places such as hospitals. We are also limiting unnecessary visitations to places where there is possible crowding. Colleagues, would like to thank you most sincerely for coming. We would like to leave you enough space to go and do your other work. But let me conclude by thanking the Honorable Ministers for participating in this press briefing, and the Permanent Secretaries and new colleagues from the press. And let me wrap up by emphasizing that the government of His Excellency President Chitalu pitches health security our highest priorities to ensure Zambians are safe. This is the reason why the President has taken charge and directed a multi-sectoral approach and has been giving measured directives to ensure the public is protected from any public health hazards. we have a contingent plan, we have a plan to respond to COVID-19, to prevent it and to respond to a possible outbreak. We have set aside resources. We would like to thank our cooperative partners, the United States government, the World Bank, the EU, JICA, the Chinese government, Swedish government, who are working very closely with us to ensure that our people are protected from COVID-19. DFID, Global Funds, and the United Nations agencies are appreciated for the support that we are receiving. We would like to urge all corporate institutions, individuals to benchmark what Lamasat and Zenith have done in contributing towards the emergency fund for the fight against COVID-19. I'd like to thank you all for coming, and God bless.